everyone. Hello, everyone, and thank you for listening. And welcome to the uh, likely the last episode of this 90 podcast of 2025. It it ended in a
Tragedy.
tragedy. I mean, there was for the moment you thought they would galvanize after what they did to America, and that they didn't. Over 180 minutes, Toluca were just, even though they didn't have Alexis Vegas, they were the better team. And yeah, let, okay, let's talk about the league again as a general as a whole. Um, uh, it was a good start. They had a 2-0 lead against America after that first leg. I thought, okay, I think last time we talked, it was like, can they turn that switch, right? Like, this is an older team. Yep. Can they turn that switch on? After those first 90 minutes against America, you're like, okay, yeah, they're going to turn that switch on. Then America scored 2 goals to, give them the advantage. And then you're thinking, oh, not
this again.
Not this again.
Not again, yeah.
And I guess America was flying too close to the sun because they were playing music as the game was going on. Like I said, they were flying. I think they flew too close to the sun, and Berterame scores in stoppage time, and America is eliminated. And by the grace of whatever religion you believe in, we advanced, or they advanced, and you're thinking, okay, luck's on our side. This might be it. This is a scare, but they got through it. And then against Toluca, okay,
we saw the same look.
Yeah, 1-0. I mean, you obviously wanted to have it. I mean, playing Toluca against Toluca at altitude, with a way better team, you kind of wanted a little bit better. I mean, you take the 1-0 lead, but you want more just because you know what you're expecting and what we've experienced having them score 6 goals against the team. But yeah, took a 1-0 lead, and then the strategy or the tactical plan was not the right one. Step back and defend that 1-0 lead, and it only lasted about it lasted less than half an hour, like 28 minutes, I think it was, or something like that.
Around 20.
Because they scored around the 18th or something like that. But by the time they scored the second goal, it was like, okay, yeah,
we're done.
Yeah. The 30 minutes, it was like less. It was in the first half. It was in the first half. The whole game plan was crap. And then you're thinking, okay, 2 goals, 2-0 lead. It's the most that's the most deceiving lead in all of soccer. But then Rica Chavez. Well, I mean, the thing is that both or 2 of the 3 Mexicans that they've brought in over from elsewhere screwed up in this game. You had Ambris screw up on the second goal, and then you had Rica Chavez. I don't know what he was thinking, and that ended up being the nail that struck. That was the last nail. I mean, Monterrey battled back. Credit to them. You had Marcial generate a penalty. You had De La Rosa of all people score a goal. But that was it. That was too little too late. The penalty kick, really, I mean, if you want to go to one of those 2 errors, but it was one of Ambris, one of Rica Chavez. Those errors screwed up, along with the game plan, sealed Monterrey's fate. And we can get everything in general. I'm just laying everything out there, and you guys can take whatever direction you want to take it. Then after the game, you have Sergio Ramos saying he's done, he's out, peace. And then on Monday, as we're recording this on Monday, Tato Noriega spoke to the media and said a lot of things I really wish he didn't have to say. It's just
exactly.
Yeah, that's just more gasoline to the fire. We're going on year 4 of his. I call it a veterans project or the Win Now project, because when like we talked about in the last podcast, I think we have like 10 players. I think or close to 10 players that are over the ages or 30 and older. And so the project is win now. There's no like like what Arsenal is doing, where like they grab a bunch of young players and we're just gonna take it year by year by year, and then by the fourth or fifth year, okay, we're ready to like roll and dominate, right? No, this was win now. It's like a quick rich screen. Like
Yeah.
like if we're trying to get rich really fast as soon as possible, that was it here. That was just like there's the plan is win now, bring a bunch of guys, don't deal with a lot of young players, win now, and that has blown up in everybody's face. And now Sergio Ramos is gone. Dominic Torrent is staying at least for another 6 months. And yeah, we're going into year 4 of Noriega, and zero trophies, zero trophies. But he did say we made a final, 2 semifinals. So yeah, we're supposed to be content with that, with all the money they spent. Like, okay, if we're a San Luis, okay, if we had like the budget of San Luis or Querétaro or like something like, if they were investing well, Querétaro has new owners, so that might be that example might age terribly if like they spend money. But if we're San Luis, if we're like the neglected child, like Santos, what they have going on right now, or Cholos, or like somebody where it's like we'll put a little bit of money, but don't expect a lot. Like Cholos getting to obviously they shit the bed, but like this, like you know this is gravy for them. It's like, okay, get the Liga, and then whatever happens happens, right? Because whatever they're investing, it's not to the same magnitude as Monterrey. So like Monterrey was like had the same budget as them. Okay, we'll take it because we're just that's where we're supposed to be, right? But when you're investing, when you have Sergio Ramos and you're investing a lot of money in Sergio Canales and all this and that, yeah, and you're trying to win now. You're trying to win trophies because that's why you brought all these players and have a lot of wages tied to them
and experience.
Yes. Yeah. It's. I'll let you go first, Fernando. Where do you want to take it? You can start anywhere. Yeah, take it anywhere you want because it's just it's.
There's a lot of directions to
Yeah,
go with.
Go ahead. Take your
right
direction.
now. I mean, it's been a little bit hard, honestly, ever since Saturday, ever since the game. We saw a little bit of spark whenever those two goals were after we were losing 3-0. I've we're gonna talk about this, but there's just been a lot of situations going on and like uh rumors that have been going on with both Rayados and the team as a whole. Like we saw them go out into the pitch a little bit earlier. They were starting to say, "Oh, it was because of issues inside of the locker room after the second half." After the second half, but um, it I really at this point I don't know who to point the finger at because not only like tactically were we not going full out straight away when we know it's a difficult pitch to play in. Then the players we saw certain players have certain attitudes, which like in my opinion, inside of the pitch when you're losing and you start having those attitudes are mostly tantrums, if we're being honest. So I think we saw who the players are that need to leave. We already are like expecting Ramos to not be with us for next year. We
Well, he
have
said it
issues.
himself. He said it himself. Yeah, he's gone. He's. If I wouldn't be surprised, he's already on a flight to Spain. Well, Torrent is already. He should be on a flight. Both of them are on a flight to Spain.
Yeah. And what was going on the next day, like in the morning, you were already seeing like Torrent like stepped out of the role like by himself, just already talking like the next day about changes already happening, but then uh they go out and start clearing them up, and it's just right now you feel like there's a whole mess going on with the way that they're trying to manage Rayados. And after this, I'm I think they were really expecting to win the way they were playing, and it's kind of weird because now everyone has come out and it's like, oh, we actually have issues with the players. We have talked about this for a long time. So at this point, there's we've always pointed the fingers that the players are not the ones that are playing to their fullest, and the manager is not doing the in this case the subs in the correct minutes. Tactically, he's messing up the game. It's always those same things throughout the past 4 years that at this point we got to start looking a little bit higher up on seeing, hey, maybe you're forcing your manager to play these types of players, which then forces you to play a certain way. Then the manager is not comfortable. The manager knows that the players are going to have more hierarchy, and then you start having issues inside the locker room because that's what Rayados has right now. And it's just building up, building up. We thought that after this season we were gonna see changes for the good of Rayados, but we already saw that we're losing Sergio Ramos. Our best prospect is now going to Chivas, Brian Gutierrez, because he decided to go with Chivas for the love instead of the money that Rayados was gonna offer. But we gotta start asking, like, when is Rayados gonna do a purchase like that one that is like somebody that actually wants to be over here playing not for the money but actually for the badge.
I mean, yeah, that's we can get into that, but Samira, I'll let you go ahead, have the floor, and go whichever direction you want to go with. Whether it's something that upset you throughout the Ligia, whether it's the Toluca game, the first and the second leg, or the second leg in general, go ahead and take, floor is yours.
Well, I guess following up with what Fernando was saying, like at this point, if you're trying to go back and understand the root cause of what's causing the problems right now with Rayados, because everyone has the pressure on Rayados because of the money they invest. The I mean, we're still a team that has 5 Liga MX. I mean, it's not like we're not like a Toluca or like a America that they have more than 10 Liga MX, that they have 10 more. They have a lot of trophies, and they still expect a lot from Rayados because we know that they can do that. So if you're already making the investment, if you're already paying high salaries, you know that money is not the problem. So I guess right now, with what we saw with Torrent, like not understanding how or why you're playing like that, because it's literally the same thing. You knew that you needed, and when you were playing at home on the first leg of the game, you know that just scoring one goal or not even scoring anything was going to be expensive at the second leg of the game. So we knew that with America, that 2-0 was like the perfect scenario, but still you're struggling. You know that you don't have the um well, not you have the strength, and you have maybe like the experience from the defense, calling experience the old age, but still you don't have the speed. So you understand that nowadays teams like Toluca, like Tigres, like America, they're gonna have players that are gonna be faster, and you cannot just be trying to defend a not scoring a goal, because they've been this whole tournament has been a mess on the defense. So I mean, I love Sergio Ramos. He's one of my favorite players in history. For me, he's one of the best top 3 defenders in history. But he's 40 years old, and having him and having someone with his leadership, it's like at least you expect to have something decent on the back. Because I mean, honestly, I think Rayados went this far just because of Berterame, and it was a player that we were not expecting for him to actually solve games or step up in
and
those
and
moments.
you see how Toluca. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but like Toluca neutralized them. It's like, okay, we're gonna take this player away.
Yeah.
Someone else is gonna have to beat us.
Yeah.
Nobody beat them. We
No, no,
would.
no. Yeah, yeah. So
Martel
I
with the
mean,
penalty.
we have. It's funny because the this last game against Toluca, who would have imagined that Anthony Marshall and De La Rosa were gonna bring back the team,
Yeah.
bring back to life. So it's like you gotta really, at this point, it's something that we know it's been the same thing over and over, and seeing the attitude and even the attitude from Canales, it's like, dude, we know we don't need for you to tell us or make those movements or hand gestures because we know that it's the same thing. So if you're desperate and if you're like in that kind of mood while you're playing, and like at the halftime, you got to change something up. So we had the accident Ocampo suffered. We had Tecatito not even making the trip to Toluca, and it's like, again, we're coming on the fourth game of the Liguilla, and you're done with your resources. Like, we didn't had any like subs that were actually worth it. We didn't had any moment that, like, I mean, Mochi's also stepped up, and
We'll
I
get
don't know if
into
we
it.
had Mele, if we had, it would be different. But at the same time, you cannot expect those tiny lucky moments that we had in the Liguilla
It
to
it seemed like
define,
they were hoping for luck. It
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
anything tactical or like switched up the game plan, like we're playing a whatever, because they went back at the five at the back. Obviously that didn't work, but throughout the league, yeah, it was like, and he did the same thing with America. He went five at the back, and now something. I'll ask you guys this, because one pushback that I did get was like, "This is all we have, right? This is all we have," and I'm just kind of like, you know, then that if this is all we have, it just makes you go back, and I guess hindsight is always 2020, but it's just like, how did you go an entire summer and be like, yep, we're good with this. Like, we're good with
with
De La Rosa being our number two guy, right?
that amount
Um,
of money
or
that they made.
or waiting till the very very last minute to get Anthony Martial, who was pretty much, they were giving him away. Um,
Yeah.
they didn't incorporate any of the young players that I thought they would use at least. I would thought, let's start
Even
using some of
Venus.
these youth players and let them have Leagues Cup, because nobody gives a shit, and just let them play. Play with a couple of the starters, but let the young players play. Let them have it. Here's your tournament, because there's nobody cares if you win. Nobody cares if you win or you don't win, right? And so
There
I
was
thought maybe that would have been like, use that platform to like start getting these kids integrated and see which ones are like, okay, yeah, that kid can play for the first team, or that kid has potential. We can start developing him and see if maybe we need him at the end of towards the end for depth, right, or whatever, if we need to switch. But that
I
wasn't,
don't
so
know.
it's just like a lot of things that they did from the, I guess, the end of the FIFA Club World Cup to now. It's just a lot of things that make you question. It's like, well, how, you know, again, like I said, hindsight is 2020, but it's just, you know, and but then
Man,
you also
how I
have
miss
Torrent,
Jordi
yeah,
Cortizo.
yeah, and then you have, Torrent, for some reason, and we can get into this a little bit later with Toro Guzman. Even, I mean, he played a little bit in that second or in that first leg against Toluca. Was it against Toluca or was it
Yeah.
America? I forget. But completely erased. Like, this again, just 2 years ago, this guy was like being praised because he was bullying Luis Suarez in that game against Inter
And we
Miami.
were scared we
Fast,
were losing him
fast,
to a European
yeah.
team.
Fast forward now, dude is completely not a starter, erased. And I wouldn't be surprised if he says, hey, I'm 24, I should be a number one guy starter.
Yeah.
If Torrent is staying, why am I gonna stay? And like I said, we're gonna get to this right now, but it's just like a lot of things. You're counting on Stefan. Stefan Medina's not a center back; he's a right back. Why aren't you playing Victor Guzman and they're not giving a reason, or maybe it's I haven't read an actual reason, but it's just like a lot of confusing things, and it's just like it was a frustrating tournament, from
Yeah,
from from start to finish. I guess you can say it was a frustrating tournament because
we
you look
started
at
pretty good
yeah,
because
but then
we
you start losing to the teams that you're supposed to be trying to beat, and
hmm
again, it's funny is that a draw is what kicks you out, right? Like because they would always draw either they would either lose or draw against the teams that they're like they're the serious teams, right? They didn't beat I don't think they beat America during the season. They didn't beat Tigres.
tied
They didn't beat
tied
Toluca. You know,
lost.
but they didn't win. So it's like, it's. I guess you look back, it's like, yeah, that's the tale of this tournament. Just couldn't beat the big teams, and you draw 3-3, and you again you drew, or no, you for the like we said, like they by some luck they beat America, but it's just like I think for the last few years they've just been counting. It's just been like luck, right? Like it's always been luck or some miracle. Like it's never like, oh, so and so, was just tactically ate, you know, ex coach, right? Like it's never been like you can go back to the final, like that second leg, Jardine ate up, De Michelis, and again we counted on a miracle from Johan Rojas that gave us like um,
The
some
best.
type of hope for like 10 minutes until it went away. And it's just like that's just been the. I think that's just been the.
Same
Looking
feeling
back
over
at
and
like the
over.
last 3 years of Noriega, and I guess you can say since like Tulio Davino, like it's always just been. Now
Yep.
luck went their way in 2019. Luck went their way in 2021 when I think it was it Casares that misplayed the ball and Funes Mori scores, and that's the goal that wins us Concacaf. But it's just been like luck, luck, luck. It's never been like, oh, Monterrey is just a machine, right? Like they're just kicking somebody's ass, and it's just been like that. And I guess a part of me is kind of like tired of it. It's just like I'm tired of just relying on luck and not like, damn, these players are just really, really like you can't count them out, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't, you know, like you said, it's because they care. I don't expect them to like kiss the badge or any if they're not like youth players or have some type of like connection to the club. But I mean, we've seen like Canales can be professional, right? Like he can respect the club, and it's not what he was rooting for, but because he's a professional. But it's just like you said something. There's just a lot of like things to like. There's just a lot of layers to this club right now, and I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like I'm just like I don't have any expectations for next tournament. I just you know
I'm
I
expecting a
don't
lot of changes, not
and I
results,
don't
but a
yeah
lot of
because it's
changes.
the winter window and the winter transfer
Like,
window. There's
even
not a
if
lot
it
of
works or
changes.
not, even if it works or not, that's what you want. You want to see changes. So
The bad part is that it's the winter transfer window. You only get 1 month to do a lot, and you're not gonna get all these players out. Yeah, I only see maybe three or four players leaving, and maybe three or four coming in. But you know, I guess we can. Do you guys have anything else you want to add from this Ligia and just the overall tournament before we kind of like start to look forward that you kind of like want to get off your chest now that the dust is settled?
I guess the only thing I would add, it's I would speak for myself, but I think everyone would agree that eh, mm, there's not a single player that if he leaves, we're gonna be sad because we
Yeah,
know whatever comes, it's gonna be an upgrade. Well, hopefully, it's gonna be an upgrade, but we do know that there's a lot of changes that we need to do. So
yeah.
The thing is, I don't. You guys can speak for yourself on this. I don't trust these people to make the right. Like, you let the Osa walk for a good amount of money, and you didn't replace them. So
well,
it's like,
here's the thing. That's the other thing I was telling my brother the other day. It's like remember that the president of FEMSA just changed, so now El Diablo it's in charge, and it was the transition on this whole tournament. So I feel like because he also wants to get involved. That's what he said. So I feel that if he's not stepping in the situation, because if he's following up, he knows what it's going on. And I guess Tato understands too that it's going to be really complicated situation for him. That not even like there's no player safe. He's not even safe on his job. So I just really hope that he steps in and actually does what matters and not what people
Yeah.
want. Because at this point, whatever decision, nobody's gonna like it. But now that nobody's gonna like the decision, just make sure that you make the right one. That's it.
And it doesn't help that Tigres are in another final.
Oh no,
Uh,
hell no.
that's just like getting stabbed and then having
Icing
the
on top.
blade twisted on you.
Especially how they're playing, because
Yeah,
it's not like they're good. It's been luck for them. Correa, I don't know what he's been doing, but if you see the goals, it's just errors from the
he
other
brought
guy.
he brought that Argentina like the Argentina luck from 2022. They were like,
Damn, like
how are they winning these games? And it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Bounce after bounce after
yeah,
bounce.
yeah. It's just like I said. Okay, we can move over to because for me it kind of ties in. Okay, you the game plan was obviously wrong. Uh, Now it's like you kind of again you look back and when you look forward, it's like okay, Torrent's gonna stay for like 6 months at the most. Uh, well, they have to bring in players that he sees are like this is what I want. This is what for a lot. If I'm gonna play three at the back, I want fullbacks that can attack, right? Or I want wingers that have these types of traits. And I think you said it. I mean, year after, I think ever since the Davino era, it's like year after year, the same players stay, and then you bring in another manager who's completely like, I, you're
Foolish.
asking this guy to put like a square peg in a round hole, and it's just like you just can't keep the same players and then switching up the manager, especially if they don't play like the same similar style. Like Torrent is different from Dano, and he's different from Demichelis, but you keep majority of the same players, and it's like you know does so and so fit the profile that he wants for a midfielder or for a defensive midfielder? Like it's just that's something I never understood with Monterrey. You hire these coaches, but then you're asking them to grab these players that maybe were from another coach's tenure and try to utilize them when be honest, like when you see like European projects when they blow things up, the manager will straight up tell somebody, "This player, no, not for me. Please sell them, get rid of them." But at Monterrey, it's like, please use them. Maybe we'll get rid of one or two, but it's like keep using all these players. And so it's just at some point, I have to think that's one of the reasons why they can't win. It's just, you know, if Dan Ortiz wanted so and so player, but now you're asking Demi Torrent to try to use him, right? I went, for example, and I know Zamida's gonna get mad, but it's like Corcho, right? Like, I think he came under, yeah, he came under Tano Ortiz because I remember him
Yeah.
scoring against Inter Miami. So it's like, okay, you bring him in for Tano Ortiz for the midfield that he wants, right? Well, now you're on your second coach. Does Torrent actually see Corcho as a midfielder that he likes, right? So it's like you're you keep switching these coaches, but you're like, does this coach actually like is he forcing this player to play the way he wants, right? And instead of just saying, you know what, let I just don't know. I just I guess if they would have said, hey, we're gonna take our time with this project, people would have a little bit more patience, or I would have more patience. But when you go get Canales, when you get a bunch of guys in their 30s, you're obviously signifying like we're trying to win now, and you know, wait, patience is out the window. Patience to developing is out the window, and yeah, it's just there's just a. I guess it's like it's just a lot of dysfunction, right? It's like, and I think that eventually just leaks over to what we see on the pitch, and sometimes we can have luck, but if we're always depending on luck, um, we're we're not going to win that much. We were lucky to get a good matchups last year when they reached the final because you only played Pumas and San Luis,
Yeah.
and you can get to the. I mean, definitely have to get to the final. Those are your two Liga matchups. But I think we've seen against Toluca twice. One playing with the man up, and this year, and now playing against them without Alexis Vega. We see that they're just on a different level. They're just they tied 3-3, but it was like, dude, it you know something
They feel like
it
they have
is
more chemistry in the team.
yeah, and it's just they have like every player fits whatever Turco wants to do, right? Like it's it's players that for the most part he's been able to utilize, and then they got rid of all the players that he didn't want, right? Like they'll loan them out, like please go play somewhere else. Um, and yeah, I mean, it also helps to have a guy like Paulinho as a Helinho. Like I don't, guys that are, and it's just a good combination of guys that are a little bit older like Paulinho, but then guys that are in their prime, right? And Monterrey has kind of like tipped the scale where it's like a lot of guys older. Um, but yeah, I think looking towards the future, it's just a lot of question marks. Like I don't know what's going to happen with Victor Guzman. I don't know what's gonna happen with I think if we look at the foreigners, I see four foreign players that I'm not saying they're all going to leave at once, but if you're saying, okay, we need to open up some foreign spots, you have Stefan Medina. You already Sergio Ramos is gone. You have Mele because it wouldn't be wise to have
Everything.
a backup foreign spot. That would be the dumbest decision. And then you have I don't know what's going to happen with Lucas Ocampos. Like if he is, I mean, like we talked about it last podcast. Like we don't know if he's like somebody Torrent wants. Uh, you have I don't know what's going to happen with Corcho. So I think those five uh, at the top of my head are like they're not. I'm not saying they're all going to leave, but if you need to open up foreign spots, those are the ones that they're
They're
going to need
not.
to open up.
It's not like we're gonna die if we don't have them. So
Yeah, it's
whoever, I guess they're gonna let them go depending on who they're
the
gonna
offer.
bring.
The
Because it's
offer,
not like we just have Corcho and Ambris, and if Ambris is injured or Corcho is injured, you were playing like both of
and
them
we
and it
need
was
to
working out.
yeah, and we need to take in mind that we're playing two tournaments
Con
Same as
next
Concacaf
year.
and
defense.
So
everything's
and it's you have to win Concacaf. There's no. I would prioritize Concacaf over the league just because I think
oh,
we saw
definitely.
what we saw with the Club World Cup. Um, but yeah, you need to have a squad that can play two competitions, and that's something I think gets lost because Liga MX isn't like South America or Europe where their international competition starts as the season goes. So we'll see what happens there. But is there anything before we get into like crucially what's going to happen that you guys want to like just add, uh, or just get off your chest?
I mean, the only thing is, we're getting to the point where, like you mentioned, we've seen the same players with different coaches, on and off again. I feel like even just to bring it to the just to add on to the Corcho's example, he was starting as a single DM with Tano. Then he became a libero, like a fifth center back with the Michelis that
That's what
changed
killed
into
him.
like a holding, and then you come over here and now you got a dual CDM,
uh,
and you start seeing that he's not the only player that repeats those patterns. You see Oliver Torres sometimes playing
Medina.
a little bit further up the pitch, sometimes lower as DM. You see Canales playing on the right, on the middle, like as a DM as well. You just don't have players that are going to be in their actual position. And something that we have brought up, and it's also going to show, we have been playing a formation with wingers, with three wingers, which I'm not counting Canales because Canales should be a centralized midfielder. Tecatito burns out in less than 50 minutes and does not have the speed anymore. And Ocampos gets injured.
Injury prone, yeah, and
Yeah,
that's it. Um, yeah, I think that's it. That's all our wingers, right? Like
yeah.
I'm thinking,
No, you
No.
don't have anyone else.
Yeah,
If you want to go into the reserves, you have Aldair, you have
but they don't even play. That's
Valenzuela.
it. Again, it's just again. That's why I'm like, why didn't you use League's Cup to figure out if these kids can play and to see if you can use them? Uh, I'm not
You
saying
have
all players are going to be, Gilberto Mora, where the age doesn't matter and they'll rise to the occasion. But you don't know what you have until you put them in those scenarios and see if they can play in those scenarios. So,
and
um,
it has just been instead of making those players fit into the spots where we need them right now, we are just playing players that should not be on those spots playing there right now.
yeah, they played. Uh, Again, this is why I don't know what the hell's going to happen with Toro Guzman. They played Wesley Reyes as a center back or some type of center back, and it's just like
Like a stopper.
you had Salcedo
Salcedo
and
also.
and Toro Guzman. Look, if Torrent were to come out, I would have more respect for him if he were to come out and say, you know what, all these players just aren't my profile. And look, I would like to stay long term, but this is just going to take a complete rebuild. Like it's and you don't want to hear it now because the winter transfer window is the most difficult one to operate because you only get 1 month. But it's just they shot themselves in the foot here, man. They didn't do anything over the once the Club World Cup ended. You would have thought, okay, let's
We got
start
the money.
getting younger. Let's start getting a little bit younger. Let's start going into the post
Refreshing.
Ramos Canales, who is 6 months, 6 months, 6 months left on his contract. I don't know. I think I don't know if Tato said that he can act like I think with some type of performance clauses or whatever can activate another year. I think he said, but until that is officially reported, I'm just gonna stick with or officially announced. I'm just gonna stick 6 months, and I don't know if he wants to stick around past 2026 or the summer of 2026. If he wants to end his career playing in Spain, um, especially if what's
Passing.
his they get promoted, he probably might want like what, man, I want to end my career there and that's it, and all to it. He's been professional, like I said. Uh, but
You're not
where
gonna
do you
complain about anything.
yeah where do you guys heading into this transfer window? What's like your level of optimism, level of like I don't want to say excitement because we're just fresh off losing another Ligia, but I guess I can say, do you guys trust that Tato Noriega and Hector Lara are going to make the right decisions to fix whatever this is now? Because it's an old it's an old team, and yeah, it's an old team. It's an old team that just needs. To me, it's like it needs to be rebuilt. I'm surprised he didn't say, we need to get younger. We need to get, it was nice to have all these players, but it's time to start thinking about the future. But what's your level of like optimism heading into this heading into this winter transfer window?
I'll let you go first.
No, no hope at all. I feel like it's a lot of things to change, and it's a lot of things. I feel like you don't have to throw everything away. Like you can still keep some players and make sure that you bring players that are gonna help you, um, to actually make the players they have stand up or do a good job. But I feel like this next 6 months, it's gonna be for the patient ones, because we're gonna need a lot of patience, because it's gonna be, I feel this next tournament, this next 6 months, it's gonna be a transition into whatever they want to do. That of course it's gonna be bringing younger players, and of course they understand that they need to bring more Mexicans, because that's the problem that we're facing right now. um eh, Making changes just because you don't have the spots, or you don't have actually the place. I'm excited to see that, if it's true that Cesar Montes is coming back. Um,
That might be after the
because
World Cup.
Yeah,
you
I think that might be after the World Cup. I think it might be, but then again, he's under contract until 2029 or 2028, and
2028.
Russian clubs, you kind of had to spend big because it's like, you know, Russian clubs don't. I mean, I would categorize them a little bit just below like Saudi clubs, where it's like I don't really
Same
need the
level as
money.
Chinese clubs.
Yeah, it's like, do I need the money?
Yeah.
No, so pay me whatever I want, or fuck off.
Or
I
wait.
think that's and so do you want to pay 10? Because he would still have 2 years left on his contract, so it's like the Russian team can put you bend you over. It's not like I think Arteaga where he only had like 6 months, right? Where it was like they're just trying to get something for him, right? He only had like 6 months left on his contract, so it's like okay, we can sell him for six. I think it was like $6 million or 7 million. It was like it wasn't that. It was less than. It was like he was like less than $8 million.
I think it was like 6, 7. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Mm.
was less. It was like because only had like 6 months left on his contract, so it was like we're trying to get whatever we can for him. So
Yeah.
but it would be different. Uh, uh, and yeah, you're right, Samita. They need to figure out something with the Mexican players because obviously grabbing players from other teams like Ambris, Rica Chavez, and if you want to count Wessel Reyes, has not worked.
Not at all.
And I think they have to. I mean, and they're under two of their under 20 or under one under 19 and one under 17 won the league title, and it's
And
just like,
today, 14.
mm-hmm. So
So it's
it's like
three categories.
where are these players going? Obviously, I'm not saying all of them are going to be first division team players because that's not going to happen. But
But
say
you
out of
have to
the,
have something.
you have to have
You
like
have to
out
be
of the 30
special.
play out of like the let's just count the 17 and the 19. Out of those 20, how many players on the team? 14, 14 or 15. So let's just say out of those 30 players, right? 30 just to round it. Out of those 30, you can't tell me you can't find three, maybe four players that you can say, you know what, they can play first team. I'm not saying all of them are going to make it, right? It's like baseball, right, where they sign a ton of guys from the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, and all these players, and it's like maybe we can get two or three big leaguers out of like the 30 people that we signed, right? And I feel like that's the same case. Like you have 30 out of all these 30 players, you can't tell me three or maybe four can't be developed and be like, okay, this guy can play first team,
Aldito.
and because I think that's what we're lacking. And I know we talked about it last time, where it's like, and you just mentioned it. We just need players that kind of like have respect for Monterrey, and you kind of saw with Torrent. I did not like his comments at the end where it was like, oh, I'm going to Spain. I'm gonna take my vacation. It just felt like, you know,
I don't
it
care.
just felt it just felt like a slap. It's just like, dude, you just lost, and it was partially your fault because of your tactics. Like now you're talking about vacation. It's just
I mean,
it's a culture thing within that club where people just don't give a shit. It's
yeah,
like I'm pretty sure you guys have worked at a place that you guys just did not like, and you're just there to collect a check,
yes.
and you're just like, I don't give a fuck if you say this to me. Like I'm just here to just clock in, clock out, and be done with it. And it just
Yeah.
feels like that's the culture at Monterrey, where it's like you have some players that people that do care, like Canales and all that, but then it's just the majority. It's just you just look at it as like, are they just here for like a paycheck just because we paid them a lot of money that probably nobody else was going to pay them? And I think
I mean,
that's where it's like you start to wonder, like, try to find players that are professional. This is where like scout them, look at, are they professional? Have some young players that come up from the youth system that have some respect and love for Monterrey. Like I said, I'm not saying be Pachuca, but have like those three or four players that know what it means to play for the club and love the club, and that can like kind of like, so people like, so when you bring in foreign players, they'll be like, this is what the club means to me, and like have that type of attitude. But yeah, it's just, yeah, I just sorry. It's just like a lot of things that just, you just look at this club and it's just like, where do you go, the direction you take, and
yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's just like I don't know where do you go from here. But yeah, anything you guys want to add for the future before we start talking about who should leave, who should go? You know, in terms of, I know you guys have touched on it a little bit, but if you want to like go into more detail.
I mean, one of the players that I'm probably going to talk about coming back is Johan. I'm pretty excited because I didn't feel like anyone. had the same attitude and emotions when we lost against America in the final as Johan in this past game that we had against Toluca. Uh, you mentioned it. Torrent kind of took a little bit of a different attitude towards losing. I don't know about you, but if it's I'm not asking the manager to cry or the players to
Mhm.
cry, but as a fan, every year that we go on to semifinals and finals and we lose those types of games, I'm not even playing and I get emotional. And even sometimes you can get a little bit of a cry out of me because it's my team and it's an emotion that unfortunately I'm not able to go in and give to the players on the pitch, but it's what they're missing. And it's player after player, and we're starting to see now who those players are, and in this case the manager, which they don't have a connection to our team. And it's really important that somebody at least not we need somebody that is able to not only have that connection with the club, but also be able to spread it to those players which are going to be coming in, like those foreign players,
You
because
would
we've had it in the past.
you would have thought it would have been Tecatito, but um, dude hasn't even played that much, barely. Yeah, you would have thought it would have been him, uh, and but just hasn't been like that. And I think going forward, I think you need not just one people, but you need a group of players. Like I said,
Yeah,
3 or 4 players that just can radiate that love for the club. And I think any time that Monterrey's been successful, they've at least had like 2 youth players. I mean, you go back to like the Chupetas Wasso. I think they had a good amount of youth players. Like came up to you had Jonathan, you had uh, Mier, and but you had some so you had like a
Kevin
group of
Chavez was
mm-hmm,
also
you had some like group of and you go to 2019, you had Charlie and you had Cesar Montes, and I guess you want to throw in Jonathan Gonzalez, but like you had like players that had come out through the academy, and so it's like a group of players that know what it means to play for the club, um, and I guess even Cesar Montes was the captain at at certain points too, right? So it's like there, like you said, it's just there's a level of like respect, care that I think we're kind of lacking, and it's just like I said, it's just how many players are just here to just grab a check and just be like, bounce, I'm gone, and yeah, it's just it is what it is there. But let's move on to like the players that should be going in and out. Uh, I expect, I would say 2 foreign players and maybe 2 Mexican players are gonna go out. Um,
I mean we're
who I
losing
don't
Hector
know.
Moreno already
Yeah.
that
So you
season,
got,
so
but yeah, I think I think it's gonna be 4 rivals, and then I think you have to start incorporating your youth academy. You can't win. You can't go winning 2 or 3 youth, lower level titles, and not start developing. Grabbing the ones that you feel like, okay, these are the ones that have a chance to play first team. We have 2 tournaments. You need the depth. You don't want to, especially with some of the older players, because like I said, I don't think all of them are leaving, but you're going to hit a handful that go, and you still need to be able to rotate them in and out, and not like like we reached at the end of this tournament. We always lose 1 player, or in this case, we lost 2 players because of muscles or just sheer luck, or I had just bad luck with Ocampos. But we've seen
the
older
scooters.
players, older, our older players break down. We just can't. We can at least not count on one to be there at the end. And now with 2 tournaments, I don't see 2 players. Some of the older players not being there. So for you guys and whoever wants to take it first, what are the two? I would say, give me the 2 foreign players and 2 Mexican players that you feel like, okay, yeah, it's time to cut bait. Uh, and what positions do you feel need to be reinforced for again 2 competitions? Zamida, if you want to go first.
Mm, it's it's complicated because again, I wouldn't let go some of them knowing that someone's not coming. So depending on the players that are gonna be signed, I will let go some players. Because I mean, if it was for me, I feel like I've always mentioned, I feel like Rika and Hueso, they're not bad players, but they're not players to be starters at Rayados. They're not young, but we just have them because they're Mexicans. But yeah, I feel those two players, Eric Aguirre again, you cannot risk it with him being
Being
injured or not playing, or he comes in and he's not actually doing anything different from what you have on the pitch. So for me, I mean, as long as keeping, I guess the only ones that I would keep it's like the young guys like Fimbres, Ambris. Other than that, if they can let them go depending on who shows up. Like
Mhm.
because it's been complicated finding like a left wing,
Mhm.
especially Mexicans, because it's like we don't have any. But it's again, it's the same thing. It's like once you know who's coming, like what players, I feel that's how you have to do the
Mhm.
changes just for this semester, like this next tournament. Because again, you need to change a lot of things, but it's not going to be just two or three players that you're going to change them, and it's going to change the whole system.
Mhm.
So just it's it's not who I would like to for them to leave. It's what's going to be the smartest thing to do. Also, like depends on the contract. How I don't know how long Rica and Hueso have their contracts, but
2027 for both, I think.
and for the foreign spots, damn, like I feel so bad for Mele, so bad for Mele because he does a good job with Uruguay, but
Well, I
with
mean, you also say that Uruguay's going down at their like standard has dipped
Mhm.
with this generation. Like it's just, and then they have their own issues with Bielsa. It's just like I just
Well,
feel like
yeah,
Uruguay has kind of like their this
Fallen.
generation is like fallen when you compare it to like the Forlans of the world, the Abreus, the
yeah. I mean,
Suarez and
I don't
Cavani's.
think Mele has ever taken the spot of Rochet. Like Rochet has
No,
been permanent, so
yeah,
it's not even like he's better than Rochet, and you're not even considering Rochet to be one of the best of the
yeah.
world. But I guess Mele, I don't know if it's gonna be to another Mexican team. For me, the best case scenario, swap Mele with Acevedo. Get Mexican. I would trust him 100%. I will let him do whatever he wants because
Well,
he's gonna respond.
if they were to do that, you would be happy with competition between Acevedo and Mochis, right? But the thing is, would
Yeah,
Acevedo want that? Like he's been
They're both
undisputed
Mexican.
number one. But the thing is, like you got to think of it from the player perspective, where it's like this guy has been number one for Santos. Like, why am I gonna go to Monterrey and compete for the job? When I've been the number one guy at Santos. So
Yeah,
it's
but
I
like,
mean, Acevedo has everything to be the number one
exactly.
spot.
And
Much is, well, I'm gonna let you.
you can actually, sorry, you can actually take advantage of Mochi's moment because I don't feel Mochi has what it takes to be the starter of Rayados. Like I still like he had really good moments, and I feel it was all luck. He's good, but there's still some things that it's like you can get something better. And if
yeah.
it was because of, I mean, if it's against Mochis and Acevedo, 100% I would go for Acevedo.
Well, yeah, I guess you have to think you have to hope that he has that mindset where it's like, oh, okay, I can fight Mochis for that number one spot, and I'll take it. I'm.
And also,
It's just having that mindset, but I don't know if he
like
has
for
that mindset.
Acevedo, I think he would, if he's smart, go into a team like Rayados, he would get better consideration for the national team because Rayados is fighting CONCACAF, because Rayados is fighting. I mean, they just went to the Club World Cup. Could you imagine if Acevedo had the opportunity to actually be on the Club World Cup, step up, and have those competitions? Like, it's not like it's something downgrade for him. It's actually something better that he would have more vision, and he's still in an age. I feel like for being a goalie, it's still a good age for
Mhm.
him if he wants to actually, make a
Yeah,
change on his career, because he's not going to do anything in Santos. It's
right.
not worth staying in Santos.
I think it's just the mindset that he has. It's just if he has that mindset to say, you know what, I can walk in and I can take the job from Monchis. But I think when you look at this generation of Mexican players, a lot of them want the things handed to them rather than
Yeah.
fighting for it. So it would just be on like, does he have the mindset to say, I can go there, I can take the job from Monchis, and I have no issue. But you
Mhm.
know, if he's the type of player that we've seen the Mexican players be for this generation, be like, no, I'm good. I'm a starter here. I'm not gonna risk it. No, I'm not gonna. So it would depend on his mindset. I think that would be like the only um, question mark that would be there. And then what other foreign player that you think is should be on the way out?
Oh, man, I don't want to call out Anthony Martial because it's the first semester too, but
Yeah,
I know he was not expensive. I know that. Mm, if you are willing to surround him with players that are gonna fit in his game, keep it, because he
and if he's a guy
younger.
that Torren wants too, because we
Exactly.
didn't talk about this earlier, but he didn't play him in that second leg or that first leg against Toluca. He kept his ass on the bench because he missed uh sitter against America. So I think this one is going to be all on Torren, whether he's can figure it out or be like, you know what, man, send him back. And I need another attacker, whether it's a striker, or winger, or whatever, or hybrid of that can fit what I want. And I think that's where that's going to be at.
It's
Yeah.
complicated. It's gonna take them a while to actually build a team they're gonna be comfortable with.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fernando. What are the two Mexican players and two foreign players that you think should be
I'm
going on the way out?
I'm gonna start with the foreign players because I feel like those are the easiest ones. Mele has to go. Unfortunately, after the performance that we have seen this whole season, we
Do
brought
you
him
go
in.
with Do you go with Mochis or do you go after another foreign goalkeeper?
After how he played Liguilla, I would feel comfortable having him for 6 months,
That
and not let the goalkeeper spot be a priority at the moment. Then give him the 6 months to see how he develops throughout the whole season. But right now, I would definitely not look into getting a goalkeeper because he showed up in Liguilla. You may call it luck, but at the same time, there's players that have luck on their side, and it showed in the first leg against America, and it showed in the
And
first
against
leg against
Toluca.
Toluca. So I really don't mind leaving him there for the next 6 months, especially if we're able to allocate those funds to have other positions be filled in, such as your center back role, because uh,
we're
we
losing
were
two,
talking about
and
that.
we could be losing three if Guzman was like, I don't want to play here anymore. Send me to Toluca or wherever. So
Yeah,
we could be looking at three center backs that you need to fill.
I mean, Stefan Medina, uh, my favorite player. It's
He has
literally his
6 months on
signed
his
shirt,
contract. He has 6 months
but
left on his contract.
it's about to end like a era that we have with them. So I know that if he's not leaving this season, he's leaving next season. So Moreno, Ramos, Victor Guzman, and Medina are all potential transfers out in the next 6 months. So for me, the ones that need to go out right now, foreign wise, is just Mele. And since I'm already counting Sergio Ramos and Medina to be out in the next 6 months, I may go for a little bit of a controversial one, but right now we need a little bit of freshness up top. Either Ocampos or Canales needs to leave.
And I think it's going to be like if you're playing, if you're just going by the way Torrent has handled the situation,
It's
it's been
Ocampos.
Ocampos. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I
But
think go ahead.
if if I'm being honest, the one of the topics that we talked about in this past few games, it has been attitude related, and the person who is not gonna say that channels the emotion of the team, but really dictates it is Canales. And if he is not okay on the pitch, you see it in the game, and we saw it in this past one against Toluca. And I don't know why, but I feel like it's something that I may not be the only one that noticed. He was
Yeah,
injured most of the time.
yeah, and again, you don't have like, and I that one I do agree. Like you don't have anything behind him, and even you can say like Jordi Cortizo, like it's a drop off between him and Jordi Cortizo. I think
Yeah.
that's why I'm kind of upset that they didn't use the summer transfer window to start like
You also lost
ushering in.
Rosa.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess that would have been like your replacement, but
And you
you
don't play
know,
famous enough.
yeah, but it's just it's just this whole summer not starting to like usher in like the players that are gonna take the reins from Canales and Ramos.
Mhm.
You kind of delayed that, so it's like you should have started that in the summer. Now you kind of have to start that this winter, but now you're choosing at the worst time to start it because the transfer window is only open for a month or for like a month, for like 7 or 8 weeks, right? So you have to do everything
Yeah.
quick, quick, quick. And it's just terrible. But go ahead, go with the Mexican players that you feel like okay, it's time to cut it out.
Mexican players that need to leave. I'm gonna say Aguirre because Chavez had a nice liguilla. He still has a lot to develop. Being an older player, I think like he has still a little bit more in his to get to his prime. So Aguirre at this point injury prone. He's not contributing a lot, and the game that he came like in the starting lineup, then we switched to Rica Chavez against America, and Rica Chavez was the one that generated the goal. So Eric Aguirre is one of those that, in my opinion, needs to leave. Um, Before this last game, I would have said De La Rosa, and I'm gonna put him on like middle ground of I want him to leave. I don't want him to leave because he he gave us a goal to kind of have a little bit more um, hope that we were coming out of that. But the other player that needs to leave, that is Mexican, in my opinion, uh, is Victor Guzman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not saying it because he's not gonna fit into our team or anything like that. I'm I'm just hoping that he goes out because he's an exceptional player that unfortunately does not get time and is being disrespected by the people that are managing Rayados at the moment. Because I don't understand how your under 21 best defender, whenever he was on those
Gignac
categories,
father.
Guignac's father, he has been an amazing player. He has been out of this world, but somehow, some way, someone or a situation has him on the ropes, and he's not going to be comfortable in Rayados. And after taking everything off his own Instagram page, I feel like even if he tries to get back to a level and they're gonna start playing him, it's not easy to forget what the institution has done to
Yeah,
him because we're coming up to a club to like a World Cup. If we're being honest, Victor Guzman had to be one of those defenders that would have been taken into consideration, but unfortunately, since they didn't play him, he's not gonna be on
yeah,
the
he's
World
not.
Cup, and it should have been his first one. So at this point, it's not even because they're affecting us as a team. It's mostly because it's affecting so much the player that it's also not allowing us to go out for somebody that is actually going to be playing for us and the manager is going to be happy having.
And it's his, and you can comment on this, but like his kind of like decline started with Demichelis. Because I remember the
Yeah.
Ligia for when they reached the final, he was not starting him, and like, that's when it's like, oh, why isn't Toro Guzman starting? And so like that started like slowly getting to the point where we are now, where the four most important games of the season didn't
He has
start.
not played.
And at some point, you go from what we just talked about, where the guy was like undisputed number one right center back, to bench, and now an afterthought. You have to, and if Torrent is staying, which he is,
Hmm.
if you're not his style, or you don't just or you, I don't know if it's a behavior thing or whatever, but if the player is like, you know what, man, I'm not going to convince this coach. I think I just need to go. Then I think we're kind of like slowly reaching that point of like, yeah, this is. I think you just got to sell him to get something for him, because if not, you're just devaluing your asset. If the player, if the coach is not going
Yeah,
to play him, or he's going to play him sporadically.
yeah, and it's sad to have a player of that caliber go just because he doesn't get along with the manager.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, we're just getting pushed to that. We're getting pushed over that ledge.
And I'll wrap this up with, give me the. You don't have to give me a player, but give me the four positions, and what if you use a Mexican or a foreign player on it. Like, for example, if we need a center back, do you think we should go for a Mexican center back, which would be difficult because I think the only one that I can think of would be the one from San Luis. Um, uh, I think
Weren't
it's
we doing
Eduardo.
offers for like a Pachuca center back as well, like a young
No,
upcoming
left back, left back. No, he's a
left?
left back. I know which one. I just don't know his name at the top of my head. But he's a left back or a right back. He's a fullback, just to put it like that.
Is
He's a
it
fullback.
Aceves?
I think so.
Daniela Seves.
I think
Yeah,
it's
Yeah,
Aceves, right? He was also. I remember that name being called.
yeah,
Also.
yeah. Uh, but for you, what positions do you? Let's just use the four. What positions do you use a foreign spot that you feel needs to be reinforced? You don't have to give me a name. And then the other two positions that you would think they can find a Mexican player in Liga MX to fill that role, or abroad if you want to go with, if I don't think Cesar Montes and Orbelin Pineda being a World Cup year, they would, and I don't want
I don't want to
Orbelin
really.
Pineda. I don't want him.
nobody wants him.
Uh, I wouldn't go for that, but somehow Monterrey, every last two summer transfer windows, they've been like linked to him, but nothing has come up. But like, using those four, the two foreigners and two Mexicans, what positions would you fill those with? I'll let you go first, Fernando, and then I'll go to Samira.
I'm already counting on Johan Rojas to come back and fill one of those spots.
Well,
Uh,
he's been linked to Brazil. He's been linked to Atlético Paranense,
Mm-hmm.
because Atlético Nacional put him off loan, but Monterrey is not doing a loan, which I kind of agree with. You already loaned him out to Necaxa. That
yeah.
loan did not work. And Vasco da Gama are the other Brazilian team that's linked to.
Ooh,
So, and he's been linked to the MLS. So I think
I really hope
I
he
Torrent
stays.
Torrent Torrent got a sample of him at the Club World Cup. So I'm sure he has some type of like verdict on him, whether he fits or not. Yeah, but I think that's the context people should know. Like, he's been linked to two Brazilian clubs in the MLS, and Atlético Nacional wanted him, but they got rejected because their offer was a loan offer.
Yeah. I feel like we need a young winger on both sides. It's the reason why I'm expecting the Johan is because I'm expecting two and two offensive players, two defensive players, one Mexican, one foreign on each spot. So I'm expecting if we were hopeful that Johan was coming back and he was going to fit Torrens' needs, to me, that's one of the players that feels the shirt. So he should be doing a good spot, like a good, at least, change for Campos if he stays. Uh, Offensively, I really don't expect to go out for a Mexican because if we're being honest, all of the ones that are like potentially good, like Efrain Alvarez just moved to Guadalajara last season. We saw I, the, I mean,
And
there's
Brian
not a lot of
Gutierrez just Brian Gutierrez just moved to Chivas, so that was one
exactly.
option that's gone.
So
Uh,
the only one that I'm thinking of that like was already on the talks and he was supposed to be coming in as a free agent is Cordova, which if I'm being honest, everyone kind of hates him, but I've always been a little bit of a. I always liked the way that he played, but if you're gonna be bringing him to play on the right and as an attacking midfielder just to like sub out Canales, that's gonna work. Defensively, I feel like you need to go for a center back that is like 33, 30, 32 from the top five leagues, like out in Europe. If you're gonna spend big, spend it on a center back that is not retiring, like Sergio Ramos, but has the means to go to Saudi, has the means to go to like the Portuguese league and those kind of still not as big but big leagues, and just try to let him be the solid backline that you need. Bring players like Mancini from the Serie A or like Smalling that he's like 33 and he's a pretty solid defender. Or you can start bringing people like Agüero, the Moroccan, yeah, currently in Marseille. He's about to run. I don't know. Is he in Marseille still? I don't remember. But you start having those players which like our older top five leagues, you just need to bring one of them that is still like maybe 1 year contract left, 6 months, and you know that you might be getting a good deal for them, and just for them to come and try to play here in the MX and see if they can do something. But don't bring like a 36-year-old, 35-year-old defender because they're not gonna work. You already have
you already
high
have one guy. What? How old is Salcedo? 33, right? Salcedo's
yeah.
33, going on 34. So you already, and you have if Medina's going to stick around for the last 6 months of his contract. I think you need guys still in their prime. I think
Yeah.
you need some guys that can still play. I would go for a 20, anywhere between 27 and 31. Um, uh,
31.
at 37, 31, then you can still get some cup, maybe 2 years of good football, depending on how they play, like their style. If they're not too physical, or if they use more like their head. Um,
I
but
don't think
yeah,
that works in Liga MX at this point because we only have players right now to cover in zones. We need somebody that is physical on the back line,
oh, then
like
you're gonna have to go for someone that's 25, 26, like entering either about to enter their prime, like 24, 25, or right in the middle of their prime, like 27, 28, 29.
yeah,
That can give you 3 solid years,
yeah.
and that's yeah.
I
That
mean,
is it. What's the
just
other
a
position?
Mexican, another Mexican center back.
Yeah, so
Because
you would go
I
to
mean,
two center backs.
two center backs and two wingers.
Uh,
Because Martial and Berterame and De La Rosa, let them work out things. They might be able to do something. And Berterame, I just want the World Cup to happen already to see if he gets uh, a call up so
I
he
don't think it's
can.
getting a call.
I
I'm
mean,
just
up.
expecting him to be a
he's the
third.
Mexican with the most goals in the whole year.
You look at Javier Aguirre, and half the stuff he does doesn't make sense.
I just hope Rafa
Especially how he likes
Marquez.
rayados.
No.
I just hope Rafa Marquez, with the rumors going around that he might be potentially the manager after the World Cup.
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna
think
touch on
that's
that.
real,
I
but
don't
that
think
would be
that's real.
actually nice.
I
We'll
just hope
see.
that maybe that way he can get Berterame in.
Yeah,
Just
we'll
planning for the
see.
future.
You, Samira, what are the what positions would you fill the two Mexican spots and two foreign spots that I think more than likely are going to happen?
Well, I guess it's complicated too because if we see what situation we're facing in the selección, like the national team with Mexico, it's like even for the national team, they're struggling to find some positions such as the right wing, such as the right back. So it's complicated looking for Mexicans right now. The only thing I would do in order to bring, because I even Cordova, I did like how he played, but if you've been following him, he has not played, and I feel if we're already struggling with some mental attitude problems, bringing someone that you need to work on, it's gonna be more complicated.
But it's gonna be a Figo situation.
Yeah,
Uh,
That's the only
but
reason why I would want him in.
we already have Salcedo, and look what happened. Like against Tigres, he was I don't remember how much he played, but it's complicated. So mm, for me, I would consider a good idea for Cesar Montes to come back, as he would be a Mexican that it does a good job, at least at the Liga MX, because we have not been following him at Russia, and at the Selección he's been struggling too. I don't know if it's because of the level or the moment as he's living in Russia, but um I guess what you said, it describes that we really need Victor Guzman. So I would really want him to stay. So I would really find a position more like the wings, especially on the right,
mhm.
because we've been struggling with that. Because we had Cortizo, and it was someone that might have a good game or might offer something. The problem is that who do you bring? And players like I would like to have players like Efrain Alvarez or like Ormiga, but they're not leaving
Yeah.
Chivas. And you don't want players like them just coming for money. So for the Mexicans, I guess it's really complicated. Like uh, at this point, it's just depending on whose contract is
Uh,
it's about to finish and who's willing to come and who actually brings up something to the team.
yeah.
I would honestly, for Mexicans, I
Want
would
people to come
rather
in.
give it a shot to the young guys.
Yeah.
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 That's I wouldn't go outside to look for Mexicans.
Yeah. No. I mean, you saw in the what is it? That's the first leg against Toluca. They they brought in Mojica and the Urias kid, both 19, and
They
for the
actually had a
yeah,
debut against America. Like,
yeah.
why would you do that?
No, against was it against America or was it Toluca?
It
It
was
was against.
against
I think
America
it was
on the
against
Uh,
first leg.
America
uh,
on the
On the first leg.
first game,
yeah, because I know it was the first. It was at home. Like I just don't know
but
if
it
it was
was like
against.
minute
Yeah,
eight.
it was like the last 5 minutes to try to like do something, because like they nobody was pressing. Nobody like it was just like it was just they again. I don't know if it was America or Toluca, but they were doing their way in those last minutes to try to like score, a goal to like try to cut the advantage. Um, but yeah, I think again, I would rather Monterrey give their chance to like youth players over Cordova or like Rica Chavez, where they're really not difference makers, and you can't tell me you can't develop that type of player in your own academy. It's like we're not
Yeah.
asking to like be Canales or Sergio Ramos, but can you be better than Rica Chavez? Can you be better than Sebastian Cordova? Can you be better than Mochis? Can you be better than Nacevedo? Like I would think Monterrey should be able to develop those types of players. I mean, we'll see what happens. I think they should be, once I think we're recording this on Monday. The Concacaf draw will be on Tuesday, so we'll know the opponent, not just the opponent, but like the side of the bracket that they're on. So,
Yeah.
and they're going to be playing in round one, so that kicks off in February. So by the time February comes around, Torrent will have to start thinking, okay, rotate players, because especially the older ones. But yeah, I think I agree. Don't force the Mexican player to come, like you said, for like money, because that has not worked out.
Exactly.
And so I would rather let's try to see what we have with this young player, because Cesar Garza should be coming back. I don't know if Dundee is going to extend the loan, but
I
his
think they
loan is
already
coming
confirmed
up.
they're not extending it.
So,
I think he's definitely coming back to
so
Raydazo.
you have the Urias kid, you have but I think they do need like a defensive midfielder that's like a little bit tall, but just like somebody that's going to be a good link between the defense and the attack, because most of the times we've seen Canales have to drop back and to get the ball, And I think we've
And
talked.
it doesn't
This
turn
has
out
been an
good for him.
issue over like I think the entire Canales stint, where we just don't have a good defensive midfielder that knows that road list. Let me destroy whatever the opposition is doing. Let me recover the ball, and let me find the passing lanes to the attack. I don't think Monterrey has that type of midfielder. Uh,
You
I,
saw that. You saw that in the first season for Corcho. I feel just because he was comfortable with the defense on the back, but once they started struggling with the defense, and once
and putting him
Demichelis
as a, as a center
started
back.
playing him as a center back, he lost that confidence. But that's what Corcho was offering the first season that he got to Rayados. So
Those balls,
if he's
yeah.
you need to either bring his confidence back or bring someone that does the
I,
same
I
job
mean,
that he was
if
doing.
you're doing two guys to do one job, it's to me it's like the manager doesn't trust one of them to do it on their own. At least that's
Again,
the way I
but
see it.
again, it's like you have Corcho covering whatever Ramos was leaving, like because he was losing the players. So you would have Corcho come all the way from the midfield to come back and be the last man. So that's not
I
how it
and
works.
I don't even know what style Torrent wants to do because he doesn't have the players that. Again, it just goes back to what we were just saying
It's a lot.
earlier. It's like, does he actually want to play a back line of five, or because of what he has, he feels like that's the system he needs to do so these players that maybe are not his style can function. So it's like and this is why it's important to find players that he wants because obviously his job is on the line, and I'm going to assume that Torreira's job is on the line. So it's just find players that Torrent wants and are going to fit what he wants from that position. Don't bring
If
in
you're keeping
players.
him, if
Yeah.
you're keeping him, because he might also leave, and you don't want to start building something
Well, I think
easily next
if this
tournament.
blows up, everybody's gone. I don't think you give Tato. I would think you don't give Tato Noriega
Another chance.
another season, after 4 years of just nothing. So I think it would just be like blow up time, and I think that would be like the summertime is if you're gonna blow things up, blow it up in the summer because you have a good amount of time to find stuff. But yeah, I think they need to. They've already committed to Torrent. It's just find players that are going to fit whatever the hell he wants, and then just go from there. To me, it's they need. I would go for a foreign center back. I would go for a foreign attacker, um, and I would go with the youth players. There's no Mexican player that maybe you can go with the Aguilar player from, but he just signed a contract extension, so San Luis is not going to sell him for cheap. So he's going to cost you a pretty penny. And I don't even know if he's a left center back. I got to double check, but
But like, but the 19 being champions, I think the
you
smartest thing to do is to look at them. Like
yeah,
they
yeah,
just won.
17, 18. Yeah, you got under 17 and
They might
under
have something
19.
good.
So figure, yeah, you have Alto Patricio who
Oh man,
is just like let this kid
Asking for a
play.
call.
Yeah, he's asking for to play. Give him the confidence. Let him play. See what else you have. You already started playing. And give them minutes to don't play them the last 5-10 minutes and trying to. I mean,
like Mojica.
Mojica he did score a goal in that time frame, but it's like give them minutes, give them time, give them the confidence, and see what they have. Um, because I think we're at the point where it's like, dude, whatever. I think for me, it's like whatever happens for this next tournament. Obviously, if I just want to win CONCACAF, I just want to win just to have that checked off because you know then you can start like selling players like a player that's at a Canales level to say, hey, come play the Club World Cup with us. You can't really sell them if you don't have that. So you
Exactly.
need that. So, but we'll see. I mean, they took a gamble with Demichelis, and they cost them that the first bullet or ticket that they can get for Concacaf. So now they're doing bullet number two, and they're backing Torrent, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it's just yeah,
A
we'll see
lot.
what happens there because this team is just yeah,
Complicated.
Anything either you guys want to add at the end to get off your chest?
I guess I just want to see changes. I don't want to see the same thing. And that's
Well,
it.
I mean, we're gonna get the same thing right now
And
with
to use
Torrent.
the money to pay to the comisión arbitraje, because that's where the real investment needs to be done.
Last thing, are you guys watching the final or?
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't want to. I don't care.
I think if I'm working, I'll have it on. But if I have some like if I have something to do, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I want to watch the like. It's not like okay, I need
Yeah.
to watch the final. I just don't. I think it's a lose lose for Monterrey because then you have Tupa Mohamed.
I feel like
Um,
I feel Tigres is gonna win.
uh, they
Alexis
have they seem
Vegas
to have.
coming back.
For what we have been looking at
I
the
hope
previous
Alexis
games,
Vegas just comes in like what he did against America and just kind of like takes over and just does that. Like that's just do that. But yeah, if I have something to do, I'm gonna do it. And I'm just not gonna like I just don't want
if
to.
not, I guess you can watch the highlights. You're
Yeah,
not gonna miss
yeah.
anything.
Or just scroll through Twitter and that's it. It's just I just
Yeah.
Monterrey takes away my appetite from trying to watch football.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we'll leave it here. An hour and a half almost. Yeah, pretty much
New
summed up
record.
everything we can. And yeah, I think this is our. I think yeah, this is the last podcast of 2025. We'll come back the week before the next season starts. Um, yeah, I think I don't think anything. I don't see them going through like doing a Sergio Ramos type of signing or anything like that
Nah.
in these last couple of weeks of
And you can use
2025.
that money. You can use that money for
Yeah,
something better. It's
yeah.
so
I mean, they have a lot of money. Not even counting whatever FEMSA can give them. You have the Deosa sale. You have whatever you want at the Club World Cup. You have whatever you got from Platano and Cortizo. You have whatever the wages that you're freeing up from Ramos. And it's just
They
And
like,
Victor
didn't even
Moreno.
use a
yeah,
quarter of what they had. Not even a quarter of the money that they made.
yeah. No, we'll see what happens. And then we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Everybody, thanks for
Yeah.
listening. Thanks for listening
Thank
in
you.
2025. Um, enjoy your holidays. Enjoy your new year. And we'll see. Hopefully, 2026 brings happiness and joy for us. Because
And
yeah, I mean,
peace,
I'd say the only happiness that we had was like
fulfillment.
I think the only happiness we had of 2025, and I think we ended this year was like that
Having Sergio.
those minutes that were up on Inter Milan. I would think I don't know what you because I guess you could say I don't want to count the because I was expecting for you to beat Rover Red Diamonds, so like I can't even say like that was like the top moment. I would say like those minutes that you were up on Inter Milan was like the peak of
Yes.
the Monterrey experience because we don't have anything
Yeah.
else to like we got bounced by Vancouver.
And the game against Borussia, that was really good
I'm still
too.
counting that as a robbed game, to be honest.
Yeah. If that head
uh,
from Sergio Ramos would have
yeah.
gotten, I feel like everything would be so different right now. But
We would
it
have
is
been
what
like
it is.
champions
Yeah.
back to back.
We'll
Even
see.
though
Yeah.
it hasn't been a year.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens for this season. But everybody, thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest. Enjoy your holidays. Enjoy your new year. But yeah, thanks. Bye.